I never thought I'd find myself trapped in a relationship that felt like quicksand slowly pulling me under. Looking back, I realize how naive I was, believing that love could conquer all. Our story started out like a fairy tale, but it quickly transformed into a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. His name was Ethan, and he had a magnetic charm that drew me in from the moment we met. He was attentive, caring, and seemed genuinely interested in me. But as time went on, those sweet gestures turned into calculated moves to control me. He would monitor my phone, questioning every interaction, making me believe he was just protective. I thought it was love, but it was his way of tightening his grip on me. The signs of toxicity were subtle at first, subtle criticisms, jokes that cut a little too deep, and the way he'd isolate me from my friends and family, convincing me that only he truly understood me. It felt like an addiction. I was hooked on his approval, his validation. Slowly, my sense of self began to erode, replaced by a version of myself he preferred. Then came the emotional roller coaster. The highs were euphoric, like I was on top of the world, but they were always followed by lows that left me questioning my worth. I'd apologize for things I hadn't done, desperate to keep the peace. And the apologies were always met with promises that he'd change, that he couldn't live without me. One day, something within me snapped. I saw myself in the mirror, and I didn't recognize the person staring back. The spark in my eyes had dimmed, and I knew I had to take a stand. It wasn't easy. Breaking free from his grip felt like tearing off a piece of myself, but I had to save what was left. With the support of a few close friends I'd managed to keep, I found the strength to leave. It was a tearful, chaotic, and liberating moment. I was free, but the journey to reclaim my identity was just beginning. I sought solace in the pages of self-help books and the comforting words of therapists. They helped me understand that toxic love wasn't my fault. It was a dynamic that could happen to anyone, regardless of their strength. I had to unravel the knots that had formed in my mind, untangle the web of manipulation that had ensnared me for so long. Rebuilding myself was like relearning to walk. I took up hobbies that had once brought me joy, rediscovering the interests that had been buried under layers of control. Slowly, the pieces of my personality that had been silenced found their voice again. I reconnected with old friends, sharing stories and laughter that had been missing from my life. There were moments of doubt, times when I questioned if I had made the right choice. However, over time, I learned to set boundaries and prioritize my well-being. Each day brought a small victory, a realization that I was regaining control of my life. The scars left by the toxic relationship began to fade, replaced by a newfound strength. The road to recovery wasn't without challenges. Triggers would sometimes send me spiraling back into memories of the toxic relationship. Yet, with each setback, I reminded myself of how far I had come. Looking back, escaping that toxic love was the hardest and bravest thing I've ever done. I learned that love should never come at the expense of your sense of self-worth, freedom, or happiness. Today, I stand strong as a survivor, not a victim. My story is one of reclaiming my life, rediscovering my voice, and finding true love. Love that uplifts, supports, and empowers, instead of manipulating and controlling. If my story can help even one person recognize the signs of toxic love and find the courage to break free, then sharing it is worth it. Remember, you're never alone, and your worth is immeasurable. You deserve love that nurtures your growth, not one that stifles it. And through the pain, there is healing. Through the darkness, there is light. You have the power to reclaim your life, rewrite your narrative, and build a future filled with love, respect, and genuine happiness.